Okay, now that we have completed all of the work for the accounting equation, what we're going to do is we're going to complete our financial statements. So we're going to use all of the work that we just used, these very end balances, and complete our financial statements. In your demonstration packet, you have the income statement, you have the statement of owner's equity, and you have the balance sheet. So we will go through all of those as we complete each one. So again, we're going to need this, so you'll always want to have this out so that you have that information. We'll start with the income statement first. And an income statement is going to tell the owner if they made money or lost money during the time period in which we're reporting, which for this company is just the first month. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the name of the company at the very top, and this is Expressions. And then we're going to put a for month ended date on the line below it. So for month ended. You want to spell out the month, put the last day of the month, and then the current year, unless the date is or the year is given to you in the book. Otherwise, just use the current year. Now, with this again, we're not using an 8, we're not putting AUG. This is a permanent document, so we want to spell everything out. We're very, very picky the way that this is formatted, so please make sure as you do your homework that you do follow the demonstration, okay? All right, we start with revenue first, so we'll put revenue with a colon, and then we're going to indent, and this is hair cutting services. Then we're going to skip a line, and we're going to put to the left expenses spelled out with a colon. And then we're going to look back at our accounting work, and we had rent and we had wages. Now we only had 2 here, but in your work you'll have more than that. But again, use your demo as your example, but know that you might have more expenses than what we have listed here. So we're going to indent a little bit and put rent and spell out expense, and then wages and expense. No abbreviating, and make sure that you put the word after. I know that there's a heading here, but we need to put expense after each type of expense. Eventually we're going to have some expenses that don't have the word expense with them, and that's why we need to make sure that we have the word expense with the ones that it goes with. Underneath wages, we're going to write total expenses. Now you've got 2 other columns here, a middle one and a far right. We're going to put final totals in the far right column, and we're going to put subtotals in the middle column. So looking at our accounting work, our revenue was $1,855, so we're going to put that in our far right column where it says hair cutting services. You don't have to put .00 or any dollar signs, just the whole number is fine. For expenses, we had rent was $500 and wages $125. We'll go in the middle column, rent $500 and wages $125. Again, no .00 or dollar signs. You also notice I didn't put any .00 on our accounting work either. There's not enough room really, and dollar signs look too much like 8 sometimes, so it's just best just put the whole number in. Don't worry about dollar signs or .00. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to add up. So we draw a line under the 125, add up our 2 amounts, and we get 625. That should match what our total expenses are. Put that in the far right column, 625. Okay? Now, this is money we took in, $1,855. This is money we spent, $625. When your revenue is greater than your expenses, then that is a net income or a profit. So we're going to draw a line under the 625, subtract, and we get 1,230. We're going to go over to the far left and write net income. Now, let's say that the reverse happened. We only had revenue of 625 and expenses of 1,855. When your revenue is less than your expenses, or expenses are greater than revenue, then that means you're going to have a net loss. And so you still subtract, but you're going to write over here net loss instead of net income. So again here, revenue is larger than expenses, so you subtract and we get 1,230 as our net income. We're going to double rule that nice and neat. That shows that we are all done with that financial statement. So again, this is only revenue and expenses, and it shows the owner what their profit or net income was for the month. Okay, the next one is our statement of owner's equity. And our statement of owner's equity shows the owner what their stake is in the business. So at the very top, we're going to write expressions, name of the company. And this is also a 4-month ended date. So for month ended, spell out the word August 31st, and we'll put 2022 as that is the current year at this time. Again, check your book for that information. All right, on the top line over to the left, we're going to put the name of the owner, S. Workman, comma capital, comma August 1. And this is a brand new company, so we do not have a capital beginning balance. So just like with the income statement, this is a subtotal and final total. We're just going to put 0 for beginning capital. On the left, we're going to write plus with a colon, investment by owner. Investment by owner. Now our investment by owner, you're going to look in your accounting work, capital column, and we had 18,000. So we're going to put that in our center column. 18,000. Then underneath investments, we're going to put net income, and that we're going to get off of our income statement that we just completed. So that's 1,230. And we will put that in the middle column as well. Okay, we're going to add these two together. I'll put a little plus sign here. And then we're going to put that on the same line as the 1,230. That's 19,230. All right, then we're going to add 0 to 19,230 because it says plus over here, and put 19,230. Okay, now we're going to skip a line and go over to the left, and we're going to put less withdrawals by owner. And here's where we're going to look in our drawing column and our accounting work, and we had a total of 900. We're going to put that in the far right column, 900. Less, we'll subtract this, and we get 18,330. We will label this over to the left, S, Workman, comma capital, comma August 31st. Again, no abbreviating, write out everything. And we are not going to double rule this yet. We'll go back and double rule it after we make sure our next financial does balance. So again, this is just investments, profit, and withdrawals. Now if we had a loss, that would go in the less area here. You would write net loss, and you would add that with the owner withdrawals and subtract that from that subtotal that we got right here. Okay, so you'll see that as you go through your book. All right, then our final financial is our balance sheet, and our balance sheet is going to go through and make sure our assets equal our liabilities and our equity. Now with the balance sheet, we're going to start with the name of the company, Expressions, and the income statement and the statement of owner equity had for month ended dates. This is just a specific date because you could prepare a balance sheet any day you wanted to, or any day the owner asked the accountant or bookkeeper to do that. So we're just going to put August 31st and then the current year. Okay, so we're going to center the word assets. That goes first. Now you're going to want to look at your accounting work here. We had cash, accounts receivable, furniture, and store equipment. So we'll start with cash over at the left, furniture, oops, sorry. Yeah, well, I'm going to write. Because accounts receivable is 0, I'm still going to put it on here just so that you don't forget that you should have accounts receivable. But usually accounts that are 0, you don't have to put them on your balance sheet. But I'll put it on here just in case because this is new to everybody. Furniture, and then store equipment. Okay, under store equipment, write total assets. Alright, now here's where we're going to again go back to our counting equation work, and we're going to use the totals that we have here and put those in our balance sheet. We're going to go to the middle column. So cash is $2,330, furniture was 0, or accounts receivable was 0, furniture was $600, and our store equipment was $16,200. We're going to add these together, and we get a total over on the right side, $19,130. Hopefully that number looks familiar to you because that's what we did get when we added up our left side there. All right, we're going to skip a line and center the word liabilities. Again, this is what we owe, and that's going to be our note payable, and our balance is $800. So we're going to, on the left, put note payable. And we're going to put this in the middle, 800. And then we're going to skip a line, and we're going to put equity. We will put on the next line to the left, S, workman, comma capital. And this is where we're going to use our statement of owner's equity. And we'll take the bottom number here that we got on our statement of owner's equity, $18,330. Don't use capital from the work because this has profit and withdrawals figured in here. So $18,330. We will put that in the middle column. Then we will add the 800 and the 18,330 because remember assets equal liabilities plus equity. We'll put that in the next line below on the right side, 19,130. We're going to label this on the left, total liabilities and equity. Again, make sure you spell everything out. No abbreviating. Now we're going to look here. Do our assets equal our liabilities and equity? Yes. So we will double rule under the 19,130. We will double rule under the 19,130 to show that our accounting equation does work. And then we're going to go back to our statement of owner's equity, and we will double rule that as well. So double rule that because now we know our balance sheet works. So again, your income statement is just revenue and expenses. You'll notice that there isn't any assets, liabilities, or equity, or withdrawals, or any of those, just revenue and expenses on the income statement. On your statement of owner's equity, it's just beginning capital, investments, profit, and withdrawals. Nothing else, no revenue, no expenses, nothing else, assets, liabilities. And on our balance sheet, it's just our assets, what we own, our liabilities, what we owe, and then our final capital balance from our owner's equity statement. If you need to write yourself a little note here, from OE statement, then that might help you remember that, okay? And again, these two both have to equal, but again, if any one of these three does not, and there, I'll show you in a minute, there's check figures in the book, then you need to send me a picture. My balance sheet doesn't equal. Send me a picture. Just take a screenshot or a picture with your phone, attach it to an email, and then I can help you figure out what happened. All right? Specific date for the balance sheet, and then for month ended on the income statement and the statement of owner's equity. So those are the three financial statements. The last thing that we're going to go over is our first ratio. So I'm going to put that down here on this very first page. This is on page 18 of your textbook, and I will show you that in the textbook here. It's on page 18 is the actual formula, but I'm going to go through it with you. So it's down here at the bottom of page 18, right down here. And what this does is it gives an idea as to how efficient management is at using its assets to generate earnings. So this is called return on assets, or ROA, and we're going to use our net income and divide it by our average total assets. And again, this is going to give an idea as to how efficient management is at using its assets to generate earnings. Okay, so let me write the formula on here. So this is return on assets, or ROA, and this is going to be net income divided by our average total assets. Okay, now what we're going to do here is we're going to look at this for a second here. So net income we will get off of our income statement. Our average total assets, that's going to be where we'll have to add together maybe a previous year and a current year, add those together and divide it by 2. But for this company, because it's a brand new company for Workman and for Expressions, we don't have another asset to add together. So we're going to take our net income off of our statement of owner's equity. Off of our income statement. $1,230. Okay, so we're going to start with that. And we're going to divide that out with our total assets. So here's our total assets, because again, we're a brand new company, $19,130. So you would put that in your calculator, 1,230 divided by 19130, and that's going to give us 0.6429691583. You don't need to bring it out that far, but we do need to bring it out a little bit so that we can compare ourselves to our competition or to a different month or year. So what we're going to put, you can put it in decimal form, which would be 0.06429, or you can put it at 6.43, because that would be rounded here. Okay, so you can leave it, excuse me, at 0.06429 or 6.43, and this is a percent. Now, you might be thinking, okay, well, what does this really mean? Well, what you do is you set a target, or you set what you think your ROA is going to be, and then you work towards that. So it's important that you set that up at the beginning of your year, or in this case at the beginning of the business. You know, they make a target and then they try to stay within that as well. So 6.43, maybe their competitors are at 7, their ROA isn't as good as their competitors, maybe their competitors are at 6, then they're doing better than their competitors. So again, you want to bring that out a couple decimal places, or you want to make sure that you put it as a percent. Either way is fine. Alright, so that's the end of our demonstration for chapter 1. Okay, that's the end of our demonstration for chapter 1. Now, for homework. What you're going to be doing for the homework is going through and using the homework packet that is in your Canvas module for chapter 1 homework, and you're going to follow through and you're going to complete the homework. So in your textbook on page 23, this is where the quick studies start. And then you have, again, your packet of homework that you have for chapter 1. I forgot to get that out. Just 1 second here. And then here's the packet for chapter 1 homework. Now, what you're going to be doing is you're going to follow what the schedule says to do for homework. So, for an example, I'll pull out your schedule here. So, it says here to read chapter 1, quick study 1, 2, 1, 6, 1, 7, 1, 12. Exercise 1, 2, 1, 7, and then these problems, and then read chapter 2. Okay, that's what you need to do between the 12th and 18th of September. Okay. Now, how you find all of this, or how you look for it, you'll notice that quick study 1, 2, and 3 are all on the same page here of your homework packet. You're only responsible for what is listed here. So you'll only do quick study 1, 2. So you go to your book, here's quick study 1, 2. You're going to identify either as external or internal user. You'll put that in your homework packet. Then you have quick study 1, 6 and 1, 7. So here's quick study 1, 6 and here's quick study 1, 7. Again, in the homework packet, you will notice that for those 2 quick studies, there's 4, 5, 6, and 7 on this page. You only have to do 6 and 7. Again, only do what it was listed in our schedule. The next one is quick study 112. You're only going to use this very top one. The rest of the page you don't need because we're only doing quick study 112. And quick study 112 is which one of these does, which financial does each one of those accounts fall in. Now, we're not doing the statement of cash flows, so you'll have a couple of them on here that will not apply because we're not doing the statement of cash flows. We're just completing the income statement, the balance sheet, and the statement of owner's equity. Okay? Not the statement of cash flows. Okay, then you're going to move on to exercise 1, 2, and 1, 7. Again, they're in your textbook. So here's exercise 1, 2 down here. And so internal and external users excuse me, of accounting. And then exercise 1, 7. These are accounting principles and assumptions. They're in your textbook. And you can go through and figure out what principle or assumption that it's talking about. So we'll talk about the revenue recognition principle, the business entity principle, those kind of things that you'll look for there. Okay, then you're going to have problem 1.7 and 1.9 and 1.11a. Now we're doing the A problems only, not the B problems, and no statement of cash flows. So problem 17A, 19A, and 111A. Now with those, again, you're going to look in your packet, and here is 17A. Okay, so you have your cash, your accounts receivable. It'll tell you what equipment you have. Now, accounts payable. Remember that accounts payable is if we are purchasing something from a company on credit. So maybe we're purchasing supplies on credit, or maybe we're purchasing equipment on credit. A note payable is if we're using a long-term note payable, it will state it right in the transaction. You put the owner's name here for capital withdrawals, and then you have revenue and expenses. Now, what you'll do is you'll list the transaction. This should look familiar like we did in our demo. List the date, where does the money go, and balance it out. And then again, line by line, make sure equals out, left equals right. And then if you get to the bottom and it's not equaling, send me a picture and we can get you fixed up. Then you will go and complete the income statement, the statement of owner's equity, and the balance sheet for this company. Now, with that, for problem 17A, there are some check figures here that I want to show you. So here's the problem 17A here, and then it turns on to the next page. You'll get an ending balance here for your cash and your expenses. So that will be your accounting equation work. And then you just prepare the income statement, owner's equity, and the balance sheet. Do not do part 3. Okay, and then they do tell you what your net income and total assets should be as well. So these are your check figures after your accounting equation work. These are your check figures after your financials. Then you're going to move on to problem 19A. Okay, and same thing with 19A. You have the accounting equation up at the top, and then you've got cash, accounts receivable, office supplies, and office equipment. Now, office supplies are papers, pens, staples, paper clips, that kind of stuff. Office equipment is a desk, a file cabinet, a chair, a table, that kind of thing. And then I think for this company, it is a electrical equipment company. So you're going to have electrical equipment up here that you need to label. Liabilities, accounts payable. You'll put the owner's name in the capital and withdrawal columns, and then you have your revenue and expense columns. Again, you'll put the transactions here into the accounting equation here, and then when you're done, you will prepare the 3 financials that are listed here as well. Again, if this doesn't balance out as you're going through your transactions, if it doesn't balance at the end or you get stuck here in the middle, shoot me a picture of it and I can help you balance out. Then the last problem is 111A, and again, here's your workbook page for it, and here's 111A. And what you're doing with that one is you're working on practicing your ROA, and then they've got some questions for you to ask as you go through that as well. Okay, so again, that's how you go through and work on the schedule. So September 12th through the 18th, you're going to work on this homework. When you're done, you will go back to Canvas into the module, and then there is a homework file, a PDF file for you to check your homework. Please do the homework and then check your answers. Don't just copy the answers down because you don't learn how to do it that way. So please make sure that you don't just write the answers down, that you practice the homework. That's the whole point of this class, is practice, practice, practice makes perfect, okay? Again, please email if you have questions during the demo or if you have questions while you're doing the homework, but please let me know and I'll be happy to help you.